Yo, yo.
Welcome to my world. Welcome to the show. First of all, welcome to Toast Up. You know, I got to toast up with you. Congratulations on
We got
all
to
of
toast
your
up.
success and your talents and everything that you're
Ah,
doing. You are truly an inspiration. Yeah, I see y'all in
thank
the
you.
chat. Yeah, this is Lil Murda from P Valley
Thank you.
joining us
Thank you.
today.
I appreciate you. Thank that intro, yo. That's love, man. That's
Oh my
overwhelming.
God. It
Shout out to you, man. I appreciate
Of
you.
course, it's just a little bit that I can do. I wish I could put all of your work in there because you are so talented at what you do.
Thank you.
J. Alphonse Nicholson. First of all, what does the J stand for?
I don't know. You got to pay me to tell me, but no, it stands with Joseph. Yeah, that's
Look
my
at me, I
first
hit the
name,
mic.
Joseph. Right, my first name is Joseph, but I've been called Alphonse my whole life. My mother calls me Alphonse, and yeah, so the J we just use that for SAG purposes. It's supposedly it's another Alphonse Nicholson out there, so I had to make sure I throw that J in front of it to let it stand out a little bit.
Okay, I like it. A good stage name right there.
Thank you, I appreciate
You
it.
know, literally, I love your story. Started from the bottom. Now we here, literally, all the way from North
Yeah.
Carolina to Hollywood. Tell me a little bit about your life. Where are you from, and how did you get to where you are now? How did you get to New York, first of all?
Yeah, well, once again, just thank you for the love, man. Shout out to Broccoli City, my family, man. B, shout out to Remy. Y'all, they literally dropped this off at my door, a few minutes ago. So shout out to
Hey,
Broccoli City and shout
another
out to
toast
you as
up.
well. Another toast up as the world spins. But yeah, my story, man, is I started acting at around 18 years old. Went to college thinking I was going to be a music major. I had been in the marching band my entire life. Grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina, surrounded by music. Grew up in church with Brandon, and
Mm.
I just surrounded by music. So by the time I got to college, I said, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a musician, probably become a music teacher, be in a band, something. In the hallway one day, having a conversation, a lady comes up to me and says, "You should audition for my play. You got a great personality." And I kind of just took it in. And I had realized like, I've been entertaining people and was in the band and on the step team all throughout my life. And so something just clicked when it came to storytelling.
Mm.
And I fell in love with it in Durham, North Carolina, at North Carolina Central
Shout out to North
University.
Carolina.
Shout out to North Carolina, man, my good folks in Greensboro and Durham. And so I worked in that area for about 7 years. I was in school for three, dropped out, did a lot of community theater, a lot of regional theater, worked at this equity theater called Playmakers Repertory Company in Chapel Hill. Shout out to them. And then I made a decision to move to New York around 2013. I had gained some relationships and did some bridge building, as I like to say. That's on my father's tombstone, bridge builder.
Mm.
And so I, just began to make some different connects, and it was a tough road. It was a lot of hard work and just a lot of long days and nights sitting in that subway, street drumming, dollar for dollar to kind of make that extra money. That's what I did on the side outside of acting for many years. And opportunities just continued to come with steady grind, as I like to say. And once I got signed to my agency in New York, which was around 2015, I had agents in North Carolina that introduced me to my agents in New York, and things just begin to happen for me. But like I said, everybody's path is different, and mine just it consistent of some hard times. But I think we all go through hard times, so I just cherish mine. Right, they my milestones, they my
Big
accomplishments,
facts.
and so that got me to New York, and now I'm in LA actually. So it's a little earlier in my time, as you can see, this light still shining on
I
my face. I'm
know.
using this natural light, but yeah, so it's been full circle, 10,
Yes, I was
11
about to
year
say
journey.
that light hitting perfectly. Okay, shout out to Cali, shout out to Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get deep. I'm all about really inspiring people and keeping it a stack. Okay, first of all, at the end of the day, nothing is possible without
Right.
whoever you believe in, but that higher power above. And
Oh
like you
yeah.
said, it's not easy stepping out on faith. It's not easy
Right.
to drop out of college, and it sure
Right.
damn ain't easy to move to New York and hustle the way you did. What kept you going on those days where you didn't know if you was going to have enough money, I'm sure, to eat sometimes, whether it was to use that for an audition or for some food? How did you keep going?
My son. I have a son who's now 10 years old. He just turned 10. Shout out to my son.
Deep
And, later on throughout that journey, my lady who's now my wife, so shout out to my wife, Nafisha, and my
facts.
stepdaughter, so my family and, my mother and my sister. So there's them kind of being my inspiration and me wanting to, build a legacy for them to be able to look at and be proud of Just not wanting to give up, not wanting to make disappoint the homies who have been supporting me, my brother, back, my good friend back home when I slept on your couch for all those weeks. So you start building kind of just all this motivation and all these reasons, and having a lot of purpose in your movement, and what it is that you want to do. So I just gained a lot of purpose and thought about the things that I wanted to do, and made sure that I applied, the lessons that I had learned along the way. I think if I would have stayed in the same place in a lot of moments in life, I wouldn't have gone forward. But just knowing, like, all right, listen, I want to continue to get better. This is what I want to leave for my family. This is what I want to build for myself, and taking it seriously, and just kind of not giving up on myself, and being inspired by those around me. I would be in those subways and see another brother down there tap dancing or playing the saxophone, who sometimes look like they're in a worse situation than me. And I'm just granted, I'm blessed that I have a gift, and that gift made room. And it was one of those things where it's like, yo, God ain't giving up on me. I can't give up on the process. The universe got my back, my ancestors, all that good stuff. So, just really thinking that and allowing that to sit within my system, and sitting on it truthfully and honestly, and saying, listen, this is what I have. Let's make it work. And I'm not going to go back from this. I'm not going to try to take 5 steps back to figure it out again. It's like just constantly moving forward, and just staying motivated along the way, and just using, I think my father too. I lost my father when I was 12, but he immediately, shortly after that, became one of my biggest motivations. I became a lot
Wow.
stronger when I lost a parent.
Oh my
And,
goodness, I
it
can
makes me
imagine.
want to be around for my son, for all sorts of reasons, remaining healthy. And so I want, the list goes on of why I've been so motivated to reach the places I've been. And then you start finding new motivations, and finding new things to go after. And so just not settling, and always growing.
And like you said, steady grind. You've been perfecting your
Yeah.
craft even before you went off to New York, and believing in the work that you put in to get to where you are now. Real quick, what was your first big break? Tell me about that moment.
I would say, so I had a great, and I still indulge in theater, and I love stage, and the craft of it. So I was able to work all the way up to Broadway, right? And so I had a lot of moments throughout those 11 years of doing a lot of stage and not a lot of TV. But my first TV gig was Blue Bloods, and it brought some notoriety and gave me a good credit on the resume. But I would say it was this show called Freight: The Five Incarnations of Abel Grant. It's a one-man play that I did in New York, and we got the New York Times critics pick.
Yeah,
And what
one
happened?
man, one man
One man
band. That
show,
ain't a
90,
joke.
90, 90 minutes,
I know the feeling a little
and
bit. We got 60 over
yeah,
here.
you there at the killing it. So every day, so you know what that energy is like, and having to carry a show, and having to be, connected to your audience. So that allowed a lot of casting directors to see me at the time, and then that put me in more positions to, be in a lead roles in New York, and then eventually on Broadway. And but prior to Broadway, I booked Just Mercy and P Valley.
Yep.
So Just Mercy, although you see it was a small role, it was a small scene,
Nah,
but
but that
that
was
5 minutes,
impactful.
it gained so much notoriety for me. And I was just blessed to be working with the gentleman I was working with. Man, I love Michael B. Jordan and all the producers who came in that film. Jamie Foxx, we got another project coming up real soon. I can't tell y'all what it is, but Jamie and I
Oh,
got something
bro, give me
coming
the
up.
exclusive. No, I'm sure you signed an
Here.
NDA.
Yeah, yeah. But it's, we got some good stuff coming up. But yeah, that I would say Just Mercy, but then P Valley,
Okay, and that's what
is
we
why
gonna get
everybody,
into next.
that's what we're gonna get into,
Look,
right?
look,
P
look,
Valley was
P
the banger.
Valley. For those who don't know, I actually met Jay Fonz during Broccoli City Conference virtually last year in
Yeah.
2020. And I remember when you warned me P Valley was coming, it was going to be some heat. And bro, that show is real, raw, and next level. And I
Thank
got
you.
to talk
Thank you.
about this. The role that you played, a rapper, but a
Uh-huh.
rapper on the down low, low key. And it's
Uh-huh.
actually
Yeah.
something very common in the black
Yeah.
community, right? We're so used to these hyper masculine roles in Hollywood that black men play, or, being in jail or being a thug or a hustler and so forth. And you chose a role that has changed your life and has given you the ultimate respect to be able to bring that story to the forefront, something that's very real in our community, but isn't talked about a lot. Is very inspiring to say the least. How did this role come about for you when you auditioned for it? Did you know the full scope of who Lil Murda was going to be? And how has the response been ever since?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the
For real.
kind words. I would say the role chose me. Then, of course, I made a final decision on it. But um, I met Katori Hall, the creator of P Valley, in New York through the theater scene. She had come to see me in this play called Paradise Blue that I did
Mm.
at Signature Theater, where I played someone totally opposite than Lil Murda. I was playing a trumpet, this musician who had a mental illness, and he was hearing and seeing things. So totally different role,
Another deep
but
one, though.
another deep one and another one that showed range and just this kind of complex character. Katori came up to me after the show. She had came to opening and she gave me all these just compliments and kind words I'll never forget. And at the time, I used to carry these cards around with me all the time. So I pulled my card out and I gave it to her and I said, "Yo, hit me whenever you need me." Maybe 7 months later, it was some time later, she emailed me and said, "Yo, I think I got a role for you that I would love to bring you in the audition." And she sent me over the sides and kind of the character breakdown. I said, "Oh man, okay, cool. All right. I'm a heterosexual man. This is going to be on national TV." I had the opportunity to, experience on stage where I've had to kiss men before, but that's in most of the time where people are all sitting in this room. It's not as large of an audience,
Right.
and they're also it's not as intimate, right? So for me, that was the initial thought, like, okay, how comfortable I am with this. Let me talk to my lady about it.
Yes.
And we said this story is important, and that this story has to be told. I start to reflect on my cousins and all the homies who I know were in that predicament and having to be someone that they're not or hide themselves and not be able to be free simply because of the stigma that comes with our community. So I thought about that very heavily, and then I made the decision. I said I want to play this role. We went in, we had the audition process, got the call back, and Katori was in my corner, and we
And you
eventually
killed
got the
it.
offer. Thank you, thank you, I appreciate it. And so when it came time to actually shoot, and I met Nico, amazing, just cast scene partner, man, just so professional, and so he made it very easy for me to get comfortable and slip into the skin a little murder. Although, I had my hesitations and I'm nervous, because yeah, this is not my walk in life, but I am familiar with love. I'm very familiar with being, maybe isolated and not people not feel like people understand you. I've had those feelings. I think when you start to sit into things that are very similar and common, then you find yourself being truthful and honest about the story.
Mm.
And so even if you're uncomfortable or if even if it's something you don't quite understand as an actor, you have to start to tap into the things that you are familiar with, and the truth will show. And I just did what I did with any other character, breathe and believe, as I like to
I
say,
like that.
and connected with Nico, and all my other castmates. And Katori's just a wonderful writer, so it's fairly easy once you start to say the words. But I was just hoping that somebody would be changed from the role, and somebody would see it and say, "Hey, that's me," and I should feel free
And
to
have you
express
had that
myself this way.
since? Have you had that since? How has that reaction been? Have you had a lot of people,
Yeah,
thanking you for playing and telling that story?
yeah, for sure. DMs constantly blow up with people leaving messages and kind words. I've had people hit me on Twitter, and I read things, and people will say, that lives have been changed or that they can relate so much to the character,
Wow.
and so for me, it's heartwarming and it's dope because as a storyteller, that's what you want to do. If I can change one person's life, if I can impact one person, I feel like I'm doing my job, because that's what happens when you hear a story as a kid. It has an impact on you, right? You grow up, you might remember a story that someone told you, or you might
Facts.
remember this story that your uncle told you. And so these stories just have different impacts on us. And TV and film allows us to change the narrative in major ways if we're honest and truthful with it. So that was my ultimate goal, was to be honest. I never wanted to be a caricature. I never wanted to offend anyone. I just wanted to be truthful and honest in this guy, and in the way that I saw him and in the way that Katori saw him. We came up with our agreements, and we made it happen.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So season one was a hit. Like you said, Lil
Mhm.
Murda. I mean, I love the character for so many different reasons.
No.
When's season two coming? Can you give me that exclusive?
Hey, I don't know when season two is coming because they don't
Okay.
tell us either. So, but what I can say is I think people are very well aware that we're about to start shooting very soon. So we
Okay.
start shooting in June. There's been some
Yes.
casting breakdowns that have went out, and so they're casting new roles in P Valley. And I'm actually, I just got a new place out there, so I'm getting ready to head back to the
Congrats.
South soon.
Yes.
And I'm gonna miss LA, but we still gonna be here. My wife gonna be here. My children they'll be out here, and yeah. So, but it coming to Atlanta real soon. We gonna be in Georgia and
Yes.
making that
Welcome
happen.
to
So y'all gonna
Atlanta
get
where the
it.
players play.
Right, right. So
And I
y'all
know
gonna get it
COVID probably
real
delayed
soon.
things a little bit too with the
That's
filming.
it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. If it wasn't for COVID, I think everything would have been back up and running a lot faster. And so we appreciate the patience, man. That's why I tell people I appreciate y'all still loving on us and people rewatching the show. But yeah, we got a lot of dope stuff that's coming up. And outside of P Valley, I got some dope stuff coming up too. So
Yeah, so you already know a setback is just a setup for a major comeback. Okay, a
right,
couple more
right.
questions because I love
Okay.
having you on real quick. Black man who is married, what is your secret to a healthy and lasting marriage?
First therapy. Therapy. I think couples therapy is extremely important. That helped me going into coming from and being engaged and going into being married. Um, and I'm still learning every day. I wouldn't say I know any secrets, anything, but just healthy communication.
Mm-hmm.
Loving on each other. I love on my lady all the time, man. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
the first day I saw her. I take her out on dates, all of
Aw.
that, and it's genuine. I try to find myself in genuine spaces. But healthy communication, being honest with each other, and simply kind of treating your spouse the way you want to be treated, to be
Mm.
honest. And sometimes it's different levels to it, but I would just say communicate. But therapy, Black people sometimes get afraid of expressing themselves in a room with a stranger, but that therapy helps. They're professionals. It really does pull something out of you, definitely as a Black man. So do some
Mm.
solo therapy too,
I love
you
that.
know,
I
and
love
make
that.
that happen. So that's my little
Those are great
advice
keys
when it
right
comes
there.
to it.
Nah, and those are
Yeah.
things, breaking barriers, things that we don't talk about a lot. And I appreciate you for using
Hmm.
your platform and really being unapologetic in that space. Last question. What advice would you give to an up and coming actor?
Oh, I would say just always listen to those around you. An actor who's been acting for 7 minutes, you can learn just as much from them as an actor who's been acting for 70 years.
Mm.
You know, you really can. So just pay attention, listen, steady grind, as I like to say. Cherish your milestones, no matter how big or small. Don't let nobody tell you that because you did this, you not. No, cherish that and allow that to push you forward and just don't give up, no matter how long it takes. Being a craftsman, being an artist, it's a process, and it doesn't happen the same for everyone. It's just like if you're making a sculpture, this artist is going to make it differently. So as you kind of continue to build your career and build your sculpture, plug my computer and make sure it don't die. You can as you continue to build your sculpture, take your
I
time
love
with it, but
it.
no, it's gonna be a little different than someone else's, and don't give up.
Look, you good. Look, COVID life right here for sure.
COVID life here for sure.
I
You
love
heard?
it. Well, that's some great advice, Fonz. It's been such a pleasure having you on. I want to toast up to the
Thank you.
steady grind. I want to toast up
Oh,
to
sir.
never giving up on your dreams and to everything that you're doing. For those who want to follow him, he's popping on Instagram right now. His handle's right there at J_Fonz. Keep up with them, P Valley, and so forth. And we'll see you again soon, bro. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, B. Much love. Thanks for
Yes.
having me.
Thanks for joining me.